Wow, that was intense.
Yeah, the ending of that episode was
Very intense.
It was a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
It was a lot. And again, that was one of the ones that I feel like I haven't seen before, but I don't know if that's true. We, thankfully, we got to see more Maricruz. And we have the wonderful Camille Guaty with us later this episode to talk about her time on Prison Break and how she got the role and the whole bunch of crazy shenanigans that happened.
So many shenanigans.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. I'm fixing my camera real quick. Don't freak out. Okay.
It's okay. For guys, in case you haven't noticed, Paul is in a different place because he's on location shooting some stuff. So
I'm in a different place. And my technical.
He's currently in.
Remember the technical shit that we can't do even at our own homes? No, I'm doing it on the fly.
In a hotel. With Wi-Fi you don't control.
With Wi-Fi under control. I'm excited about our conversation with Camille, and I was very excited to talk about this episode. But let's jump into the index.
Should we index? It's an easy one this week because it's a lot of returning stuff. So this is called Wash. Episode 218 is called Wash. It first aired February 26th, 2007. It was directed by Bobby Roth, who, as we mentioned before, directed more episodes of the show than anybody else. Nick Santora wrote it, one of our show's main writers, and against the regular competition in the 8 p.m. time slot, the episode drew 9.42 million live viewers.
Wow. The recap is less simple as we get into the final stretch of season 2. Michael, Link, and Sarah listen to the recording they got from her father's private box at the cigar club. They realize they need a lawyer. So Lincoln arranges a meeting with a lawyer affiliated with his father, Aldo, and that leads Michael. They need a lawyer affiliated with his father's, with Aldo's group, and leads the lawyer to Michael. Meanwhile, Sarah is approached by her father's associate, Bruce Bennett, who convinces her that he did not double-cross her. He does not work for the company. Together, Sarah and Bruce locate the real lawyer and try to warn the brothers that they're being set up. Once Michael and Lincoln escape, the fake lawyer, the legitimate one, listens to the recording and informs them that its contents will not exonerate Burroughs, but can be useful to prosecute Reynolds. So the brothers decide to blackmail Reynolds to secure a presidential pardon for Lincoln. See, it's a very simple plan. Meanwhile, T-Bag assumes a fake identity after killing a shrink played by Taylor Nichols and takes a plane to Mexico. Sucre and Maricruz are already there and arrive safely at his aunt's. Elsewhere, Bellick convinces Manche, Sucre's cousin who failed to escape with them in season 1, to reveal Sucre's whereabouts. Piling on the nefarious Intense posse, Kellerman meets his sister and says goodbye to her, set on killing the president. And when C-Note fails to deliver Michael, Mahone instructs Franklin to kill himself.
By the way, as I'm listening to this, it occurs to me that we're at the point in the show where you cannot watch this out of order. Like, just to drop yourself in the middle of this,
like,
this episode would make
Who's
not one lick of sense.
Who's that guy? What's happening? How'd they get
100%.
there?
Why are they mad at each other?
How are they on a plane? How are Bellick and T-Bag on a plane together?
That was such a delicious moment. And we'll get to this too, but I love the scene with you and your sister so much. Okay, moving on with our index. In civil rights news, bad news for anyone being detained in Guantanamo Bay. February 20th. The Military Commissions Act suspended the right to habeas corpus and barred anyone deemed an enemy combatant from access to the U.S. federal courts. This was a huge departure in policy towards those detained and disdained by the United States. It may not seem that way now, but this precedent was giant. And I remember all of my friends in the legal community absolutely losing their squash over it. Some good civil rights news. On February 19th, the Supreme Court of the United States decided Lewis v. Harris, making New Jersey the third U.S. state to offer civil unions to gay couples, including all the rights and responsibilities of heterosexual marriage.
On the Guantanamo thing.
You can fight with your spouse, too.
Yeah, on the Guantanamo thing, just keep in mind those people are still there.
Still there.
In DVD news, February 23rd marked Netflix's 1 billionth home DVD delivery, which was a copy of the film Babel to a home in Texas. Remember, at the time, streaming was brand new technology. Netflix had yet to develop a single original streaming show. And on February 25th, future Netflix DVD delivery titles competed in the 79th Academy Awards, hosted by Ellen DeGeneres. Martin Scorsese's The Departed won the night with 4 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Picture. And we'll be right back to talk about the episode.
We are back. Okay. A few things before we bring Camille on, a few things we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, on the episode.
In the episode. Can we start with that scene with your sister? Because we talk about this a lot. It is very hard to deliver a fully baked history with no information. Yeah. I mean, it was just the episode before, right, where you found out you had a sister on the show?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I did not know Tina. Had I met Tina?
Tina Holmes,
who turned out is a very close friend of a very close friend. And so I've spent a lot of time with her socially subsequently. Huh. But I don't think I knew her. And when I found out who was playing her, I was incredibly excited. She's in a movie called Half Nelson, which is kind of the movie that
know her?
Broke Ryan
Gosling, right?
Ryan Gosling open.
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
is incredible in that movie.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, she's a real deal actor, and I was very excited that they got her to be my sister, and I enjoyed her very much. I remember not being particularly happy with my work in the scene.
You say that a lot.
Fair enough, I probably do.
I just mean I'm happy with your work in the scene.
Looking at it, it seemed connected. It seemed good. I don't know.
Well, there's something. She feels like such a little sister. She's looking at you with these
I also
totally
like
trusting.
how they shot it. Like I'm towering above her. I like that they didn't even us out. It's very big sister, little sister, and I think that works for it.
Yeah. No, there's she's so just like looking up to you with so much trust. And you also have a sense that, because of what she does, like she's clearly in the nonprofit sector in some way. And if I remember right, you brought in a bunch of CEH merch for the audience, for the office.
That's right, I did. Oh my God, I remember that.
Well, Bruce and I were shooting, or Wilbur, who played Bruce Bennett, we were shooting later that day, and I remember coming in, and you had just gotten me involved in CEH is the Center for Environmental Health. I think you were on the board then or something, and you grew. Your childhood friend was the Michael Green who founded it. They do amazing environmental work, and I still have a tote bag that you had them make up, and it was so cool because it told this story about these two kids both grew up and are true believers in their causes. Yeah. And one went into the military and one went into the sort of public sector, private sector, nonprofit world. I don't know. I loved it so much. And I remember seeing a CEH mug on set.
Yeah,
and I was
remember
Paul, you did it.
They allowed us to litter the office with it.
Yep.
But I remember reading the same thing and I thought, well, I like that piece of writing because it shores up my belief that Kellerman was a true believer and that, here's two people that maybe, it's not alluded to, it's confirmed that did not have happy upbringings or happy, healthy parents who decided to try to better the world, although they obviously go about it in much different ways. I really like that. Really like that as a family story. I will tell you that I don't know if they're funny things, but the scene on the roof where I killed the Secret Service guy, I'm walking up, I have the rifle strapped to my back, and I remember talking to the director and being like, that gun with a silencer on it is huge. And I didn't have an overcoat, and there was there's no way to put this anywhere. Mm-hmm. There's no way you could have it on your body, basically.
It's not tucked into the strap of your pants. Yeah.
It just doesn't. It would be I don't know. It'd just be weird. And the suit was very tight. And they actually do have these Secret Service weapons that are built specifically flat to hold under overcoats.
Oh, wow.
And other ones that are sometimes, I read this, that the guys have fake arms in their sleeves so that their hands can be on their gun at all times.
Whoa.
Yeah. Anyway, so what we decided to do, and Bobby was
So wild.
okay with it, was just like, yeah, just walk up to him. We'll shoot that. And then when it's time to kill him, you'll just have the gun in your hand and just bring it out.
Just movie magic.
Movie magic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then the
Where'd
other
that come
thing-
from? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Then Kellerman's just that good. And then the other thing that was real, I remember calling my mom from up there, like in between setups, and being like, okay, I'm watching a presidential motorcade. I'm on a rooftop in Dallas,
In Dallas.
and I can see the book depository building. You could see Dealey Plaza across the way.
No way.
And I think that is weird.
Did
So
I?
you could see where Kennedy, you could see where JFK was killed, and we're shooting a similar kind of story. Strange.
Did,
It was a
did I
strange
tell
feeling.
you the Jack Ruby story? I might have.
Yeah, wait. Yeah. Somebody you knew him, or?
Yeah. So the gym that we worked out at. Was
Oh,
owned
yeah,
by
yeah.
this
He
guy,
ran
Doug.
in there.
And Jack Ruby used to work out there. And after he shot Oswald, he came in there, and people were like, "What is Jack Ruby up to?" Like, there, that kind of history. Because at least then, the parts of downtown Dallas that we shot in were not big. And so, like, it felt like that history was ever present.
Yes, I agree.
Kind of the way I think people who work in the financial district downtown in Manhattan are always
Yeah.
very close to ground zero. And
Yeah.
they just kind of go about it. But being an outsider walking around Dallas being like, wait, it was right there?
Yeah,
and
I
people are
remember
just
driving by, going somewhere, and being like, "Holy shit, is this Dealey Plaza?" And then being like, "Yeah." And first of all, I can't believe it's just like a plaza. And secondly, it's tiny.
yeah.
You think it's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to be this grand, you're used to seeing it portrayed in Zapruder film and all this stuff. You have no idea how little it is in person. Very strange.
Yeah, it's really wild.
Should we get to Camille, since we have such a
I
good...
just have one
Yeah.
little story to throw your way beforehand. And that was, I noticed my hair's in a ponytail the entire
Oh, yeah,
time.
tell us. Yeah.
It's just that so the guy who cut my hair short for the show, this guy named Daniel in LA the first time. And I had gone back to do some press in Los Angeles with Wentworth. And he was doing my hair for the press. And he was like, "Do you want me to trim this up?" And I was like, yeah, it should, going back to shooting, blah, 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 continuity. He goes, "Okay, whatever." He does not work on sets. He only does hair and makeup and stuff for like commercial editorial stuff. And Wentworth and I are chatting and whatever. And, we're getting ready for this press thing. And they turn me around and my hair's to here. And I was like, "Daniel?" And he goes, "Oh, it looks great." I was like, "Daniel, it's this much shorter than it was." And again, like, I was not looking in a mirror. I was looking at Wentworth. He was cutting my hair. Wentworth's not paying attention to my haircut. We're just chatting. Like, it's probably 5 a.m. We're about to do a full day press. And I was like,
Oh, my goodness.
and so I got on the phone and I was like, "I'm going to need extensions."
Yeah.
And so we went, and that much hair takes a while to grow. The haircut was super
Dude.
cute. But so they had to put extensions in. Then the extensions looked like extensions.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I guess my hair is going to be up until it
Wow.
levels back out. But it's one of those things that does not feel like a big deal unless you're in a show that is in
it's-
continuity hour by hour. And you're just
Dude.
like, oh dear God. Yeah. Yeah, that was the hair. And also, if you remember, it had been a little bit of a thing that the hairstylist on set had been
Yeah.
a little upset that the
Yeah.
haircut had been done. And so I came back and she was like,
And it was like, "No, you
"Oh,
really did it."
so the guy who,
Told
the
you.
fancy guy in LA,
Told ya.
effed this up." And I was like, "He did." And I was so,
Oh, wow.
it was not a great moment. Not that it matters. But yeah. Anyway, none of this matters more than talking to Camille. So
No.
let's introduce Camille before we bring her on. You wanna?
Okay.
Do you wanna
Yes.
do that?
Yes. The wonderful Camille Guaty.
Guaty, yeah.
Yes. The wonderful Camille Guaty She's been on far too many television shows and in too many films for us to mention, but a few highlights include Las Vegas, Scorpion, The Nine, and a voice on one of Sarah's all-time favorite shows, Family Guy. She, of course, was the wonderful Maricruz, and we'll be right back to Doctor Her. Stick around.
All right. We'll be right back with Camille.
All right.
For years, I have been waiting to hear this story from you. So tell me how you came to Prison Break.
How did I come to Prison Break? Okay, so I remember getting this, I got an audition, as one would. And it was probably one of the easiest, most comfortable auditions I have ever done, where I just, when you just feel it, like it fits like a glove.
Yep.
And next thing you know, I'm on a plane, I'm flying out to Chicago. So here I am, and I remember one of the first scenes I had to do was this like conjugal visit too, where I'm like, hi, I'm Camille. It's like, hey, I'm Mouty. And,
and now I'm in my underwear.
Let's make
up. Oh my God.
And
I feel like that's so every actress has that story of like meeting someone day one on set and they stick you in a nude scene. Yeah. Or not a nude scene, but
I do, not to digress, but one of the worst ones that I have was, it was for this pilot, and it was me and, oh my gosh, now I'm going to, A Walk to Remember. What's his name? A Walk to Remember.
Oh.
Shane West?
Yeah.
Shane West.
Is it Shane West? Yes.
I think
so it was me and Shane, and it was, first scene is I have to take my clothes off. But it was a pilot TV show, so it's not like that. But I have to take my clothes off and go skinny dipping and then make out in the pool. And I was like, wow, okay. Whew, here we go.
And
here we go.
You kind of want to, looking back on it, turn to the people in charge of the schedule and go, hey, at least day 2, like at least give them a scene, give us a chance to talk to each other. Like
lunch.
I know, it's wild because it's so common. Anyway, okay, so it's day 1. You shake hands with a Mouty. You're like, hi, lingerie, make out.
Oh my God.
Let's do this conjugal visit.
Right.
It's and it was with him and I as well. I feel like that was an instant connection where, I loved us. Like these two characters, I just kind of fell in love.
We all loved you.
They were just he played the relationship with me so endearing and so sweet and very childlike. And I was very young too. I look back, I'm like, oh, baby. Very young. It was like this innocent. Oh God, I don't know. I think I was probably 28 at the time.
Yeah, you guys had. First of all, like, I've got dimples. You've got dimples. There was a little bit of a like. When two Disney characters meet and they've got the same outfits on, and you're like, oh, they're destined for each other. Like, we're wearing the same color palette. We have the same dimples. But there was an innocence to, like, there was so much cynicism between Sarah and Michael. There was so much history between C Note and KC because they were married and they had a kid. The, like, flush of... It was like such a Romeo and Juliet kind of
You're right.
thing with you guys.
Yeah, I felt that. I definitely felt that. It was instant as well. I think there hasn't been a role like that where instantly I felt connected on the page and then instantly I connected with the other actor. Just the way that the chemistry grew between the two and between him and I was just, it felt natural and it felt beautiful. Like I wanted to have that love story.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm like, I want this love story. This is what I want from my life. I'll run away with you. Yes.
Let's go have llamas. It's going to be great.
Yes. Alpacas.
Oh, yeah,
That
llamas.
line was so funny.
Alpaca llamas.
That's what I said. Alpaca llamas.
It was adorable. So you said it was instant. Was there anything you guys did to kind of like foster it, or you just sort of met and were like, oh, this is going to take care of itself. We're just going to lean in and relax.
Yeah, there wasn't anything that we did. I feel like him and I off camera are obviously we're not the same, but we do have a good rapport. We have a good friendship, but on screen there was this innocence that we both brought to it. That when you're watching it, you just I don't know. For me, I fall in love with them, and like they can do no wrong,
You root for them like you root for no one else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. You're just like, I want them to make it.
Yeah. It was very special. And to this day, I always say that was one of my most favorite roles to play. Yeah. I mean, him and I got in more, we would joke around a lot, but that's because me as a person and him as a person have, we have our, back and forth kind of rapport with each other, but is nothing like Maricruz and Sucre.
Sure. And actually, like, I adore Amaury, I adore Sucre. They are very different people.
Very different.
Do you know what I mean? And like,
yes.
Every now and again, I'd hear about his weekend, and then I would listen to him and his scenes, and I was like, you are doing phenomenal acting.
You're
with
phenomenal
this, like
falling in love so innocent.
So totally starry-eyed. Like, it was really kind of cool. Okay, but the problem was that you worked yourself into more work, and so the relationship that we were all looking to have in season 2, you want to refresh everybody about why there were so many phone calls between him and my cousin, and all the things,
auntie. Well, so I was hearing rumors first off that they were potentially going to tie me into season 2 as a series regular. This was the thing, and then towards the end of, or the middle, and I don't know when it happened, but I booked the series regular on an ABC show, which I absolutely love this show. And I remember it was called The Nine.
Oh yeah.
It came on actually right after Lost, which now I work with Josh Holloway. So, but it came on right after Lost, and we thought it was going to be a huge hit. Like, we absolutely loved it. The problem is that when you're a series regular on another show, it's very difficult to be taken away. And you can't, I couldn't, because this was a show where there were 9 leads, and they started the episode shooting all 9 characters at the same time. So we were you were just shooting all day long with everybody. So I didn't really have much downtime. So now Prison Break is like, oh, we got a problem here. So they go to recast me. And they
went to recast you after you were recast in the pilot?
Yes. And they recast a girl that I knew. I just realized you're probably going to ask me her name, and I can't remember her name. But we had like a little celebration party for her. And and she's in now Chicago shooting, or about to shoot, rehearsing or something. My show gets canceled.
Oh my God.
I get a phone call saying,
wow,
hey, Prison Break wants you like now, like today. Like, can you get on a plane and go to Chicago? And I was like, yeah, but wait, I know the girl who they just cast. Like,
wait,
what's
Chicago
happening?
Or Dallas?
No, it wasn't Dallas yet. Was it Dallas? Oh no, Dallas, because Dallas it was
season 2.
Season 2.
Okay.
So, this was So she,
oh my God,
she's calling me saying they're sending me back, and I'm like, yeah. She's like, what's happening? She had no idea. I said, I'm so sorry, but my show got canceled, and they've asked me to come back. So she had to come back, and then meanwhile,
woman.
we're like, can you believe that? Yeah.
Well, and also what's interesting, that means they waited the whole season pushing off, like, when are we going to see Maricruz? When are we going to see her? And then in the 11th hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, not for nothing. First of all, my heart breaks for her. I've been a part of so many stories like that where like you just take someone out to dinner to celebrate them coming onto the show and like on the in the way home on the cab.
I'm having
they're like,
agita just from hearing this story.
It's the worst. But also I do think the fans would have lost their natural minds if somebody else had shown up and just been like, this isn't Days of Our Lives. Like you can't tell us that this is the same woman.
How crazy! Because that would have been the third time that they
the third Maricruz, yeah.
Also, clearly, what they should have just done is put a ring on it. Like they should have just made you a series regular in season 2.
By that point, I was
said,
like, "Come on, guys!"
Yeah.
But then I think the writer's strike happened. When did the writer's strike happen? Was that
season 3?
Season 3.
Because season 3 was only like 13 episodes because it was a half season. Were you in 3? I haven't seen 3.
I don't think I was in 3. I can't remember. After the writer. Oh, yeah. I think. I don't even know. I gotta look it up.
No, wait. I think I
look it up.
I think I looked this up when I was doing your.
I feel like I was in one episode.
Doing your bio. I think you did the last couple episodes of season 2, and then that was it.
And that was it.
But also forever. Like, did they talk to you about coming back for season 5?
Well, no, because so then what happened, there were new writers that came on. I remember Amaury was like fighting for me to come back. Yeah. And these new writers were like, we don't really care about like whatever. We don't care about the storyline or finishing it. And I think they just had, and I never came back. It was, and I remember we talked about it. We're like, you have to bring, he was like, I will dock my pay to bring her back.
I mean,
because it was his story.
His whole reason.
His whole story.
For being in prison, wanting to get out, taking the risk. I mean, it's funny, as we've been rewatching season 2, and I want to talk to him about this at some point, is like, that must have been really hard, being like, I have less of an arc here because the person who's supposed to be doing all this stuff with me wasn't put under contract. And
interesting.
I think the show would have been so much stronger if there had been a consistent, like every other episode or every episode, like how are they getting to each other? How is this affecting her pregnancy? How is this like there's it's such a missed opportunity, and that's heartbreaking to hear about season 5 too. You know, we were talking to Cynthia just I think last week, who played Casey, and it was a similar, like, she's like, nope, nobody ever talked to me about season 5, and I'm like,
I was so annoyed too. I didn't watch it. I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. I was like, come on, guys.
Well, and
it's not even like, it's not like, oh yeah, I would love to do that. It's understanding what the show, what these storylines are, and giving the audience that payback, you know, for that. Give it to them.
Yeah. And
this is what they want.
And if you add up the treatment of Cynthia, you and I, and Jody Lynn, and Denai, what it tells you is that the story of Prison Break is that women are disposable. Do you know what I mean? Like, they didn't do that to the guys. They didn't. Like, every single one of those female partners was, and I mean, and oh my God, Veronica, help, Paul,
Robin.
There we go. Thank you,
Robin.
Like
Robin Tunney.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, just there is, yes, Prison Break kills a lot of people, and a lot of them are men too. But and I'm probably going to regret saying this, but the refusal to pay women on that show. Jody Lynn was told, I've never said this publicly before, Jody Lynn was told in season 4 that the reason they were writing her off was that they couldn't afford both of us.
Wow.
And I knew how much less I was making than the men.
Wow.
And I was like, sister, just so you know, if I were making that kind of money, I would split it with you. Like, no part of me, I was like, there's not a 6-figure salary here that's taking you out of this
equation. Right.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's really too bad, because I think so much of what the audience loved, do you know what I mean? Like, they care so much about Sucre getting to you. They care so much about Sino protecting his wife. They care so much. Like, anyway, I will get off my soapbox. I think maybe it would be done differently today. I would hope.
I would
for sure.
hope.
Do you know why? I feel like, somebody asked me, how does it feel today to be a woman in this industry? And I said it's kind of exciting times right now for women. I don't think we're, at the place that we want to get to. I said, but right now, like, I was on a set, The Duster, which is coming out on HBO Max. Sorry, HBO Max. But I have a female showrunner. I have a female director. I have a female cinematographer. It's so different to be on set right now, and not that it's bad to be surrounded by men, but it's really empowering and encouraging to be around a set of really powerful women that are doing what they set out to do in life, and they're mastering it.
Yeah.
And to sit there and have, in this business of what we do, we have to trust each other, and we have to be supportive of each other. And I'm in a room with these women that I trust, and I love to bounce ideas off of. And it's just a different environment than before. I think, especially as a younger woman, I felt intimidated a lot. I didn't have a voice. I didn't. I remember I would, even in a hair and makeup chair, I didn't know how to say I didn't like what they're doing.
Right.
Or, so my voice has definitely grown. My confidence has grown on set. And when I'm in a room that I'm in now, I can speak, and I can feel confident and comfortable, where before I didn't at all.
And there being other women in that room is helpful. It's easy to write off one person. It's a little harder when there's someone else going, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so now, if Prison Break were to be here now with more, I feel like more women would be behind the scenes. And not that would change the trajectory of anything, but it may have.
It certainly might.
It might, though.
Yeah.
It might, though. I mean, and I think there might also have been a better understanding of why people watch the show. There was sort of this truism that, like, action shows are for men, and romantic drama, like Desperate Housewives is for women, and Prison Break is for men. And I think the farther away we've gotten from there, as successive generations and Netflix and stuff have tuned in, that's just not the case. I mean, women are drawn to this show as much as men are, and women don't hate seeing ourselves represented on TV.
I think I think that as much as there's been a change behind the camera, the way that female characters are treated has also changed a lot. I think in the discussion of all this, both things were happening simultaneously. Obviously, they're not unrelated, but I think that's certainly. Camille, one of the things Sarah and I are so interested in is having this discussion over and over again with each other and with different guests about what has changed since 2005, 2006. And that usually ends up being one of the main things. And narratively, I mean, it's changed so much how female characters are treated and considered, for sure.
Something else I want to give you credit for. You talk about your very first scene being a scene in lingerie in a conjugal. That's also our character's introduction. And I don't know that anybody saw or planned on the depth that you brought to her. Do you know what I mean? Like, we were often, as women, me less so, I don't know why, I'm difficult, I guess, but like, so many women are asked to show up in lingerie, be sexy, and go home. And what I imagine happened is they saw the dailies of you guys actually interacting and were like, oh, this isn't my hot
Sexy.
girlfriend is coming in for a conjugal.
Right.
This is the love of my life has showed up to connect with me, and this will be the spiritual food I need to get through my sentence. And then they started writing for that, because very quickly you moved out of
Sexy, yeah.
sexy to, I mean, you were always sexy, you're always beautiful, but like out of being defined by what people see and more defined by like, look at the two of them together. Their baby is going to have dimples that go all the way through their cheeks. Like, that is wild. And I have to give you credit for that, because I think, you know, we talked very early on to Jessalyn Gilsig about this. And I think 20 years ago, and this is very, very much not as much the case now. I said much too many times in that sentence, but we'll skip it.
We got it.
20 years ago, our job was to show up and make a character where one did not exist on the page. And that was how you worked yourself into something that was meaningful. And, you know, hats off to you, because you did it. And in doing it, you served the show. Amaury got to play way more interesting stuff. Yeah, I just want to give you props for that. Also, you have now ended up on a show. I worked with Holloway for 3 years, and before that we did a movie together. And like, you and the guys with the dimples, I don't know if it's typecasting, but
I don't understand it. I said, because J.J. Abrams is also a co-creator on this, and I think he has a thing for dimples, because there's several characters that have dimples.
Is that right?
Oh, but also Prison Break, there were several characters that had dimples. Who is Dunbar's?
Casey, Cynthia
Dimples.
K. McWilliams.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times when I'm seeing a picture of her that I think it's me. Sometimes.
For sure.
Wait a minute.
And Helena, who played their daughter, like same, like adorable. Maybe dimples are just
does
something
Dominic kind of have dimples, or is
I've never seen
Dominic
him smile. I don't know.
Okay,
does he
so hard
smile?
to tell.
He might. They might be in there. In terms of fans, like, you've got a big career. When people come up to you, what are they talking about? Are they talking about Prison Break? Like, what are your fan interactions? Are people like, forget that, I love you from, you know, this other thing?
I mean, if any time anyone sees me from Prison Break, first off, they don't believe it's me at first. They're just like, gosh, does anyone ever tell you that you look like Maricruz?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I get that a lot. They're like, are you Maricruz? And I'm like, yeah. Sometimes I'll say no, but most of the time, or people sometimes can't pinpoint it. You know, they're like, gosh, where is it? Where do I know you from? Where do I know you from? And I was like, I don't know, dude. And then people are like,
because I don't know you.
You're an actress. And I'm like, I am. They're like, well, what would I have seen you in? I hate that question so much. What would I have seen you in? I was like, well, since we're friends and I'm hanging out with you in your living room watching TV with you, and I know what you like to watch, I can tell you what you would have seen me in. I'm like, I don't know what you watch. I don't know.
Nope.
And I used to go down that rabbit hole where I would like say some stuff, and then I'm like,
the worst.
No, I don't know. You'll figure it out. If not, nice to meet you.
Because sometimes, like, when somebody really pushes, every now and again I'll be like, well, maybe it could be this. And sometimes you'll get like, no, I hate that show. And you're like,
that's it. Okay. I'm like, no, it's not that. I mean, I could do a little comedy sketch on that, right? Oh, well, would it be this? No, not that. No.
Not that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, I would never watch that. Okay, cool. I don't know.
Did I ever tell you? I had somebody come up to me and they were like, you're that doctor on Fox. And I was like, And I was really thrilled because people always back then called me a nurse because I was a woman on TV. And I was like, I did not go to fake medical school for years for you to think I was a nurse. And they were like, you're that doctor on Fox. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh my God, that's my favorite show. Hugh Laurie is amazing. You guys have such great chemistry. And I was like, hang on. I'm not Jen Morrison. They wouldn't believe me. So I ended up signing an autograph with her name and texted her. And I was like, hey, Jen, I'm super sorry, But like, I just signed, and we're not close. I just happened to have her number from, I think, Amaury at the time. And
Oh yeah.
and she just died laughing. She was like, "I hope you were nice and didn't hurt my reputation." I was like, super polite. They think you're a brunette now. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, it was a very
That's so
getting
funny.
mistaken for someone else is
Yeah, I say that a
always
lot
a
too,
joy.
because they're, especially out here, I don't think people are used to seeing actors. And
Sure.
so
Yep.
they're like, "Gosh, you look like an actress that I know." And I was like, "Well, I do have a couple doppelgangers." And they're like, "Well, what do you do for a living?" I was like, I'm an actress."
I'm an actor.
You get yourself painted into that corner pretty quickly.
I know. I know. But that's the thing too, is like, we do have doppelgangers, right? That we, like, people used to think that I was Michelle Rodriguez sometimes if I wear a tank top and have my guns out, or,
By the way, that's a huge compliment to your biceps.
yeah, I know. I
Like,
do have arms. I have arms and I don't like them.
what? You
I
don't
don't
like
like
them?
them. Mm-mm. I hate them.
Can I talk you out of that? Because it's powerful and amazing, and you can wear a tank top and have people confuse you for Michelle Rodriguez. I would love
I
that.
mean, that's great. That part's great. But yeah, I've always wanted those, like, really just nothing arms.
Oh, the like heroin arms from the 90s?
Yeah.
The, like,
Yes. Like
I have an
heroin
eating disorder
chic
arms?
Yeah, that
No.
arm. No,
Oh,
no,
carry
no.
the power. I love it.
It just feels very, it feels very masculine. And sometimes I can have Camille, can have a very masculine personality. As in, I like to take charge. I'm a type A. Like, there's these things that I do and I have, and I just want to have a more slender arm look than, ugh. And people
Fair
always
enough.
comment on them. And I think that's it. We always want what we don't have. So when people comment on,
Right. Right.
"Wow, gosh,
Yeah.
what do you do to work? What do you do for a workout?" I'm like, "Why?"
All right. I'm
actors.
inviting you to love your arms. There
Oh,
was
actors.
something, by the way, when I was,
Same.
creeping around your Instagram to just prepare for this and see what you were up to in the world. If you're interested in talking about it, I saw something really fascinating that you posted about what it means to play a mom on TV and play a pregnant mom on TV and then walk a journey of infertility, IVF, and egg donorship. And I was fascinated by this partly because my youngest is adopted. And so that whole concept of, does DNA weigh in at all? First of all, I was a part of your story that I'd never heard before. And I was really moved by your vulnerability and honesty, because I'm sure there are so many people suffering who saw what you had to say and saw themselves.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure if you wanted to speak to that at all. And if you don't, that's fine.
Of course, I speak to it on a daily. It's part of my story. It was a big responsibility to come out publicly and talk about it. And the reason why I did was because I remember I was at a Starbucks and I was pregnant, and it was my local Starbucks, so I knew all the baristas there, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you're 40 and you're pregnant? I've got plenty of time." And I thought to myself, "Oh, is this the message that I'm sending out?" And look, there's privacy and secrecy, right? I totally could have been private. I didn't have to tell anybody how I went about my ways of getting pregnant. But I think when I struggled for so long with infertility, and I went through so many rounds of IVF and IUI, and you've no idea what I actually did to try to get pregnant. And it didn't happen. And we finally got pregnant with one donor egg. One donor egg.
It's amazing.
I was like, I want to celebrate this. This should be celebrated. This shouldn't be kept secret, because if it's kept a secret, then there was something wrong with me, right? Then I'm highlighting what was wrong with me. And I'm highlighting the shame that I'm feeling in this. And I would rather speak to this and let other women, it was more for other women, right? And myself to say, hey, I am 40 and I am pregnant, but this is how I did it. And I want you guys to just start to acknowledge the power that you had in knowing your fertility at a younger age and throughout time. Because would I do it all over again if I had to? Yes, because I would. I want my baby.
Right.
I want my baby.
Because that's your boy.
But I had no information. Nobody told me anything. Nobody said, oh, you should maybe check your levels of fertility to see where you're at. Nobody said anything. So I thought, hey, I'm Latin, I'm 38, I'm going to get pregnant easily. And it didn't happen. So I wanted to empower women with the knowledge of this is how I did it. And this is something that you should be looking at. Check your numbers, do this, do that. If you want to have a baby in the future, freeze your eggs, you know. So advocating for fertility became not only was gratifying, but was also healing for me. And I've had many women that are now pregnant because I'm like, go do this, go do that. And they were like, gosh, I thought it was going to take forever. I'm like, sometimes it does.
It can.
Congratulations, you're pregnant.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was on set very early in my career, and I was working with a wonderful producer, and he brought his wife and his daughter on set. And it was immediately apparent that they weren't biologically related, he and his wife to his daughter. And I was like, would you tell me about this? Because, you know, my husband and I have been talking about adoption since we met at 19 and 21. And I said, you know, I'm just want to make sure I've thought my way all the way through it. And he said they had gone a big journey with fertility and miscarriage. And he's like, I couldn't watch my wife go through another miscarriage. And I had this aha moment of realizing I love no one in the world as much as I love my wife. And we weren't blood related. So how could DNA possibly matter? And it was like a dime dropped. And I was like, oh, it's really that simple. I, you know, mercifully, I'm not related to my husband because that would be complex and terrifying and probably a part of the teabag storyline. And right there was all the proof that I needed. That was like, you know, adoption is a very viable way to go. And I do feel like a lot of women really suffer with the psychology of infertility and the feeling like they've been betrayed by their bodies, or that they did something bad in pursuing a career, and what, you know, like there's all of that judgment. And I just thought it was, you know, really beautiful the way you tied that in, not only to your own experience, but also, you know, to your career and what that means to be like, I've played pregnant on TV so many times, and this is going on behind the scenes. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's big.
One of the worst. It wasn't the worst, but it was a very trying moment for me. Was I was playing this 38-week pregnant woman who actually had to give birth. It was a 2-episode arc on The Good Doctor. My husband was actually delivering his goods for the fertilization of the eggs, and we at the time had a donor who was young and irresponsible, and she ovulated all 18 eggs, and
I don't know what that means. I'm so sorry. I'm lost.
So it's basically the very last round when you have a donor. She goes through IVF, and you then collect the eggs. You know, they drop, you get the eggs, and then the eggs are then fertilized with your husband's sperm, and then they're free embryos.
Gotcha.
Well, she messed up on this trigger shot where it's literally, if they say 4:21 a.m., you have to take it at 4:21 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And here I am in my trailer. They're strapping on this pregnant belly on me. And
Oh my God.
I mean, I cannot make this up. I actually have it recorded because I was practicing an audition. So I had the camera rolling, and the doctor calls me FaceTime with Cy in the corner, my husband in the corner, crying, and I'm like, "What's happening?" And they said she ovulated all 18 of her eggs. And when we got to this point, this is like, you feel like this is the end all be all. Like, it's going to happen now, because now it's not about my eggs. Now we have a young, viable woman who has the eggs and plethora of eggs, and it's going to work. And then when it didn't, and I had to go on set. And this one moment, I remember being like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm empty. I'm empty. I feel nothing. I felt nothing. And one of the actresses was with me on another show when I was trying to get pregnant. So she's been through it with me. She knows.
Wow. Thank God.
And I said, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I can't, I have no emotion in me. I am like vapid.
The
and
shutdown.
she goes, shut down. She goes, take a moment. And then they're like strapping me into the gurney. This other scene, they're strapping me into the gurney. And now this scene where they have to bring the baby and put him in my arms. And it's a 14-day-old baby boy. 14-day-old baby boy. And I'm like, here we go. I'm in the gurney. And I was like, and then I just hear quiet on set. There's baby on set, quiet on set, quiet on set. And the minute this woman walks in with this tiny little baby, I could not stop crying. I mean, I'm talking like 5 years of not being able to get pregnant, like came out in this moment. And I remember everyone being like, what's happening? What is happening? Like, cameras aren't rolling.
Right.
Yeah.
They weren't rolling yet. And I just couldn't stop. And I did a podcast with this other woman who said, that was your preview, like holding that little boy was your preview. Cause I used to look at that moment. I was like, what did I do to deserve that? Right. But this woman said that was a preview of what was to come, because after that I did get pregnant, like months later, but I got pregnant. And, but I always look at that and people are always like, gosh, that episode was so great. Or those episodes were so great. I'm like, you only knew
it came at a cost.
Oh my goodness.
And that is something that's really, I think, common. If you work long enough, not common, but if you work long enough, you end up having to be on set in the middle of intense personal crises. If you look back, was that big sob helpful to you at all? Or was that just like salt on the wound? Did it give you any chance to release anything that was holding, or do you look back on that and go, I wish to God that I had not been at work that day?
No, I think I needed that. Okay. I think I really needed that. Yeah. I mean, that's looking back.
I don't mean in the moment.
Yeah, in the moment. No. I don't know if I would say that. But yeah, I think that cry was very cathartic. And released so much, because whenever you get that, I'm not pregnant, you didn't get pregnant, you get the phone call from the nurses.
Right.
I always had a cry, and I would get angry. It was like all the feelings of grief. Like it was that whole thing that would happen.
Yep.
But you would always cry about that moment, right? It would not be, I don't think it would be like this whole generation of moments. So I think that per se was it encompassed the years. It encompassed all of it.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's like, I don't even know the word for it as a story, but I'm grateful to have heard it. And, course, I mean, was Maricruz the first time you played somebody pregnant? Because you were pretty young.
I know. Yes. Because at that time I played very young characters.
Right. Well, you had such a baby face too, like
I did.
You looked so young. You still do, but like.
Yeah, it's the dimples.
It's the dimples. It's funny, you, Cynthia, and I were all in our 20s on that show, which I don't think the guys were. Anyway, that's that other Hollywood thing of playing opposite somebody
just
who
Lane.
is minimum 5 years. Well, I'm talking about like Amaury Rockmond and Wentworth were all in their 30s.
Right.
Playing opposite somebody who's minimum 5 years older than you, and sometimes, 10. And like I always talk about playing Nick Cage's wife, and I'm just like, seriously? I was watching you on screen winning Oscars in 8th grade. How am I your wife? Anyway.
No, I do. I say that all the time. When all of a sudden they're like, yeah, well, they're going to go younger. Of course, they're going to go now. When I'm auditioning for like movies 100%. With like this very mature man.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, you're still a lot younger than Holloway. I adore him, but you are a lot younger than Josh.
Oh yeah.
By the way,
fun, though.
Josh is the best. I adore him. I just completely love him. Please give him all my love.
I will. I definitely will.
Paul and I actually have a friend, Diane Farr, who wrote a wonderful piece in, I think, The Hollywood Reporter about age parity and what it does for a relationship on screen when the actor and actress are within a couple of years of each other, and the gravitas and like the unspoken things that pass between them that are compelling and interesting and very hard to replicate. And I love that article.
Oh, I would love to see that. Can you send that to me?
Yeah. Yes, I will get your number from Ben, and I'll send it over.
That would be great.
Send Diane's article to
But
Camille.
have you noticed now that they're flipping the script a little bit? And lately I've seen a lot where it's the woman now dating or in a relationship with a younger man.
Really?
There's the is it Nicole Kidman Nicole Kidman
Baby
that's
Girl,
in one right now?
Baby Girl. Julianne Moore did one.
and-
But also those stories are oftentimes about that, whereas the ones the men
Right,
with the younger
right.
women
This
thing
is-
that's just life, and the other ones are about a woman dating a man considerably younger. Like that's always part of
Interesting.
the plot or discussion.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's a big deal. Camille, I feel like we should let you go. You've been so generous with your time and your stories. It's
you
such
guys,
a joy to see you.
Thank you. It was, I loved being here. I loved seeing all your faces.
All right, you want to do our credits?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Let's do... Okay. So, having just left Camille, there is one fan thing that I did want to do this week. Because somebody sent us a wonderful letter in our fan mail inbox that really touched us. Paul, I don't know if you want to read it. You're welcome to, or I can. It doesn't really matter.
You should read it.
This one, I don't know. I just thought this one was really lovely. So we will get back to fan questions eventually. But for the moment, we're kind of going through the inbox, and we really appreciate everything you guys have to say and to share. It's nice knowing we're not throwing this out into the ether and no one's listening. All right. So this is, "Hi, Sarah and Paul, !! My name is Amelia. I'm from Sydney, Australia. I'm 18 years old. I obviously did not watch the show when it first aired. I love that you have a call line, but unfortunately I can't call. So I wanted to email and share my Prison Break watching experience, which we asked fans to do in season 1 of this podcast. I watched the pilot with my dad a month ago, and we loved it. But unfortunately, he passed away before we could watch anymore. I ended up binging the show after his death, and it became a big comfort show for me, which is ironic because A, it is not very comforting, and B, it replaced my previous comfort show, Private Practice. I have talked my friends' ears off about this show so much that some of them have promised to watch it if it will make me shut up. Found it's a great way to connect with strangers, too. People have overheard me talk about it, and it sometimes leads to me having 20-minute conversations about which season is the best with a complete stranger. I found your podcast after my first watch and began listening as I rewatched. And I wanted to let you know how inspiring it is. It has always been my biggest dream to be an actress. But recently, I pushed that passion away. This podcast has relit the flame inside me. I love listening to your actor stories, and I've learned so much about working on set just by tuning in. The way you talk about your experiences is so inspiring. I've actually applied for an agency and cannot wait to start my journey. Not sure if this will find you, but I wanted to make sure you both understand what an impact this podcast has made, even if it is just on a young Aussie. All my love, Amelia.
Amazing.
So, we are sorry for your loss.
Mm-hmm.
We wish you all the best of breaking legs on your acting career.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for sharing that with us. That was really beautiful.
Thank you, and go get them.
Not a lot. Yeah, go get them. Some powerhouse actors come from Australia.
That's right.
I think that's it.
Thank you for tuning in,
our
everybody.
episode today. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning
in. Prison Breaking with Sarah and Paul is a Caliber Studio Productions.
Your hosts have been inmates Sarah Wayne Callies and Paul Edelstein.
Our prison warden is producer Ben Haber.
Cutting us up in the yard is editor Luke Singer.
Our jailhouse rock band is fronted by Paul Edelstein, me, who made our music.
Our prison yard tattoo artist, logo, and brand designer is John Nunziato at Little Big Brands. Check him out at www.littlebigBrands.com.
And follow the show on YouTube and Instagram at Prison Break Podcast.
You can join the watch. You can join the watch party in our One more time. You can join the watch party and our Discord community through the Patreon link in the show notes, wherever you're listening right now.
Prison Breaking with Sarah and Paul has been a Caliber Studio production. Thank you for listening.
Bye, guys. Be good to each other.
Bye, you guys.